Thoughts about what other people do with their dogs. And then that leads to a whole cascade of things, which ultimately disconnects us from our dogs and puts our dogs in a situation where they are, well, first of all, we're not connecting with our dogs. So our dog is basically out there alone without us. Hi, I'm Kathy Kowalik, and I believe that our dogs connect us to the heart and soul of what really matters in life. So hang out, and we'll take a deep dive into the human-dog connection and explore strategies that will inspire you to create legendary, enlightened partnership with your dog. This is the Enlightened by Dogs podcast. Well, hi, Kathy Kowalik here, and I am delighted that you have taken the time to listen today. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being you. Today, I thought I would talk to you about your thoughts about what other people think, and maybe even say about you, to you, about you, your dog's behavior. And then as I started to outline the episode, it sort of took a turn. I mean, we know that we are our own worst critic, right? The trash talk that our mind throws at us. It's crazy. I mean, we let our brains throw up words and sentences about ourself in ways that, like, we would never say to someone that we care about, right? So, why do we say that to ourselves? All right, so that's what I was going to talk to you about today, and I will some other time. But, to be honest, it's a lot harder to manage our own thoughts about ourselves. That's like some deeper, more advanced kind of work. And so as I was thinking about this, I thought, there's a much easier way to approach this and an easier place to start. I'm all about looking for the smoothest, easiest path of least resistance and picking out the 20% that's going to give us that maximum leverage, right? And so, because it is harder for us to, monitor and change our self-talk, I thought, well, how about if we start with our thoughts about others? That's better. We can do that. And the effect of doing this is monumentally life-changing. No kidding. And the really cool thing is that this thought work is going to help you and your dog to connect, to bond, to feel safe, calm, and happy a whole lot more often. Okay? All right. So here's a scenario. You're out for a walk with your dog and you see a person and their dog coming toward you, and the dog is off leash. You're on a trail, or a track, as our UK friends call it. And the requirement is that dogs are supposed to be on leash. And your first thought is, as soon as you notice the person and their dog, and the dog is off leash, your first thought is, what the heck? What's wrong with that person? I hate that people can't follow the rules. And that leads to your next thought. And I sure hope that dog has good manners and the person keeps them close as we pass each other. And then, I shouldn't have to deal with this. My dog is sensitive to other dogs coming too close, and it's rude and it's disrespectful, not to mention against the rules. Followed by, no wonder my dog has trouble with other dogs. How am I supposed to keep my dog safe, calm, and happy when there are people like this? There. Now my dog is getting anxious and I'm a wreck and I can't get away. My dog is now pulling on the leash. God, this makes me so angry. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. So as they approach, your angry face and body language combined with the glare that you give them isn't enough. And so you call out in frustration, hey, your dog is supposed to be on a leash. But that's all you can say, because in that moment, your dog explodes into a barking, lunging fit, and you desperately pull your dog away. Now, you're angry, upset, frustrated, and your thoughts are like spinning like mad. Like, all the work I've been doing to help my dog calm down and learn to like other dogs is now wasted. This is a major setback. I'm so frustrated right now. I knew I shouldn't have allowed myself to believe it was possible to have a different life. It's just too hard. I'm a failure, and I've let my dog down again. Now, my dog will never trust me. All because these people that just can't do things right, just can't follow the rules the way we're supposed to. Woo-wee, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, so now all of that happened in like 5 to 10 seconds. I don't know, maybe less. You see how quickly our thoughts spiral and pull us into like the pit of despair, right? And so what do we do about this, right? I mean, this is not helpful. Even if we recognize that it's not helpful to think those thoughts, which, to be honest, like a lot of times we don't even recognize it, right? We're just so caught up in our thought spiral, our thought loops, that we don't even know. But even if we do, like, well, what do we do about this? Yeah, so that's when the Thought Reframe Protocol comes to the rescue. All right, so here are the steps. Identify and decide to change a thought that is not serving the future you are creating. That's number 1. Number 2 is to tell your brain to notify your consciousness when you have a thought, that thought. So that's activating our RAS, or reticular activating system. Number 3, plan for a new thought that is reframed into one that aligns with your vision for the life that you want to have with your dog. Number 4, interrupt the old thought. Number 5, think the new thought. And then number 6, rinse and repeat until the new thought becomes habitual and becomes your default way of thinking. Okay, so easy peasy. All right, so now let's do it. Let's go back to our scenario and let's do this. Let's follow this protocol, this Thought Reframe Protocol, with our very first thought and interrupt that cascade of thoughts that leads to our anger, our frustration, to our dog's reactive behavior, and ultimately, which leads to our self-trash talk, right? Okay, so here's that thought, the old thought. Like, what the heck? What's wrong with that person? I hate when people can't follow the rules. All right, so because we wanted to interrupt the following cascade of thoughts that we went through, we decide first what our reframed thought will be. Okay, so let's set the scenario again, and we'll come up when and I'll show you our new reframe thought. Okay, so we're out walking with our dog on a trail. Up ahead, we see that there's a person and their dog walking toward us, and we notice that the dog is off leash. So our new thought is, my dog's going to need help with this. So I'm going to smile, connect with my dog, breathe, position myself on the inside so that I'm between my dog and the people and their dog. So that thought. So let me repeat that. My old thought was, what the heck? What's wrong with that person? I hate that people can't follow the rules. The new thought, the reframed thought is, my dog will need help with this. So I'm going to smile, connect with my dog, remember to breathe, position myself on the inside. So we think that thought. That new thought leads to the next thought of, oh, we're so connected that I can notice how much I love my dog's beautiful eyes as we move together on this lovely trail on this beautiful day. which leads to the next thought. I love how the leash feels like a string of connection, like a telephone wire of communication that runs between us. This is so amazing, isn't it? And then look at how simple and easy it was for us to pass by that person and their loose dog. It was like a non-event. Wow, we definitely had a trust and confidence building experience today. How awesome was that? Then the next thought that comes is, I guess it really doesn't matter that people ignore the rules. When we can stay so connected like this, I mean, I love you, buddy. This is awesome. Okay, so do you see how that one thought reframe interrupted the entire sequence of events, and how that one thought reframe led to a wonderful experience for both you and your dog? Yes, it absolutely positively works. Okay, so now it's your turn, right? Let's review the steps. So the first step is identify and decide to change a thought that is not serving the future that you are creating. So look around your life. Where can you find a thought that you seem to have that leads to a whole series of other events, right? And let's start with one that involves, other people, other dogs. Maybe it's like the scenario that we just had, where you encounter another person and their dog in a situation, and that person is doing something that is not helpful for you and your dog, and you have a thought about that. Right. So in our scenario, our earlier scenario was that the dog was off leash. Maybe it's that, maybe it's your thought is about the dog, how the dog is lunging and barking on the leash toward your dog. And why are they taking their dog out on a walk, when there's on this, narrow trail, for example. Maybe it's a scenario about the neighbor's dog. Maybe the neighbor lets you let your dog out in the yard, and then, the neighbor lets their dog out in their yard next door, and the neighbor's dog, runs to the fence and starts running up and down the fence barking, right? And so your thought is something about, like, why do they have to let their dog out every single time I let my dog out? It makes me crazy. Like, don't they see what's happening, right? Let's see. So maybe there's a thought you could find to reframe about something that happens in a class. Like maybe you go to agility class or rally class, some kind of a training class, and someone's dog is in a crate waiting for their turn, or maybe a person brought two dogs and they have, they don't want to leave their dog at home, and so they have a dog in a crate. Or maybe they're in the following class, you know what I mean? But they position their crate in a place where you have to walk past, and as you walk past, you have to pass close enough to the crate that the dog in the crate is disturbed and barks at you and your dog as you go past. And so you're going to have a thought about that, right? You're going to, something along the lines of, like, why does that person have to have their dog in the crate at all? Like, why do they have that dog in a crate? Can't they see that their dog doesn't like other dogs passing and it's unavoidable? Or why do they have to have their dog's crate there? You know what I mean? So you're going to have some type of thought about that scenario, about that person and that dog. Maybe it's the person whose turn it is in the ring, and maybe the dog runs out of the ring and runs up to your dog, and your dog is really sensitive to that. And then you have thoughts about why that person would let their dog leave the ring, and why can't they keep their dog under control? Why can't they stop their dog from running out of the ring? Why should, they shouldn't be in this class if they can't, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And so you see how how these thoughts we have thoughts about what other people do with their dogs. And then that leads to a whole cascade of things, which ultimately disconnects us from our dogs and puts our dogs in a situation where they are, well, first of all, we're not connecting with our dogs. So our dog is basically out there alone without us. And then the next thing is that we're role modeling, we're leading, we're teaching our dog, because our dogs learn through social learning, right? And plus our dogs are very emotionally attuned to us. And so what are we teaching our dogs? What are we showing them? We're upset, we're frustrated, we're annoyed, whatever it is. We're worried, all the things. And that's what our dog is getting from us, right? And so at the very least, we are informing our dog that they should be upset and worried and concerned about this particular situation because we are. So why shouldn't they be? You see how this works and how this cascades into, it cascades right into our dog being anxious, worried, frustrated, reactive, fearful, stressed out, disconnected, right? All of that could be avoided if we can identify our first thought that kicks off that cascade and reframe it into something else. Okay. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to identify that first thought that you have start with one scenario and identify your thought and decide to reframe it. And then that is what activates your reticular activating system, that you identify the thought and you just say, okay, I'm going to reframe this thought. Every time I have that thought, I'm going to interrupt it and reframe it. So that just programs your RAS. You're good to go there. Okay. And then you have to decide what your new thought's going to be, right? So what will your reframe thought be? So whatever works for you, you can just follow the loose dog scenario that I gave you earlier as kind of a model for your new thought. It doesn't really matter what it is. You can reframe the thought into something that helps you. The idea is that the new thought helps you to stay calm, helps you to feel safe, calm, and happy, helps you to connect with your dog, to be there for and with your dog, closely connected, bonded, communicating, and able to role model the way we want us to behave in a situation where someone else may misbehave or someone else's dog may, those are air quotes, misbehave. You know what I mean? Okay. So choose your reframe and that's it. So step one, identify the thought and decide to change it. Number 2, activate your RAS. Number 3, plan the new thought, right? What is the new thought that the reframe that will align with your vision for the life that you are creating with your dog? Next step, interrupt the old thought, followed by think the new thought. Lastly, rinse and repeat. So that old thought is going to come up regularly because it's habituated behavior on your part. Your brain is going to throw up the stuff that is a habit, right? And so every time you notice that you're having that thought, you're going to interrupt it and you're going to think your new thought. And you're just going to do that. You're going to rinse and repeat that until the new thought becomes habitual and it becomes your default way of thinking. That is going to change your life with your dog, and that is going to help your dog to trust you. It's going to build trust in you. You're going to trust yourself better, and it's going to build confidence, self-confidence for yourself, self-confidence within your dog, and trust and confidence between the two of you. Okay. So, all right. So that's it for today. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week. And in the meantime, just imagine what life will be like when you and your dog can finally understand one another. All right, bye-bye for now. See you next week. Thanks so much for listening. And hey, if you would like to work with me so that I can help you discover the missing pieces you need so that you and your dog can finally be happy and enjoy life together, then head on over to dancingheartsdogacademy.com and request your invitation to join us in the Brilliant Partners Academy when the doors open for the next enrollment. See you next time, and remember, a brilliant partnership with your dog makes your whole life brilliant.